Welcome, I'm Robert Adams of Creative Coaching, Creative Cultures, and today we're going to look at coaching, what coaching is and what it isn't, and then we'll look at the model that we use through a coaching situation to help you or your business reach your goals. Okay, so firstly, coaching, what is it? Well, if we use two examples, we can maybe see against what it's not to clarify what it is. If we look at coaching first in relation to counselling, then we can see a slight bit of difference there. Okay, so counselling. So counselling, fundamentally, it's about a person, and it's about that person within a context, within their environment. Okay, so we've got a person within a context, and it's about something that's not quite working with a relationship between the person and the context. And therefore, the counselling relationship is a remedial relationship. Remedial. Okay. Now, if we think about the coaching relationship, we're still talking about a person, and we're still talking about a context, an environment. Okay. But what we're talking about now is a specific task that relates to that person and that context. So it's task based. Okay. And what you've got here in the middle is the goal. So you've got a person within their context, but related to a specific task that therefore has a specific goal. So from a coaching perspective, this is performance related. So we can see big difference between counselling and coaching is that counselling is remedial, whereas coaching is performance. Now if we look at our second example, we've got coaching against consultancy. So if we think that's on a continuum, so we've got consultancy on this side of the continuum and coaching on this side of the continuum. So consultancy, what we've got here is a high level of input by the consultant, and we've got the client in the middle here, and we've got a low level of input by the client, and that's because the consultant has been brought in because the consultant is classed as the expert. They know there's an issue, they know the solution, they know how to solve that problem, so they are the expert. That means that they're going to come in and they're going to be highly directive. They're going to give advice, and the client is going to choose whether to take that advice or not. So they're directive. In a coaching situation, the premise and the starting point is that the expert is actually the client. And the expertise of the coach is to draw out the knowledge that already exists either within the individual client, or if it's a business context, within the context of that business. So their job is to draw out that knowledge base. Therefore, it's much more non-directive. Okay, so coaches are not going to give advice. They're going to draw out the knowledge base that they believe is already in the expertise of the client base, whereas your consultant is going to come in, give advice, and the client is going to choose to actually take that advice or not. So if we look at now what's the model then that we would use for coaching, we're going to use what's called the GROW model. That's the preferred model by people like the Coaching Academy, and it's the model that I use myself. What you might have heard of is the 2GROW model, And the reason we call it the two-grow model sometimes is because whenever you start a coaching relationship, you will probably have a topic or maybe even a range of topics you want to talk around, and you're not quite sure which one's the most important or how to even funnel them down into the priorities. So we're starting the topic. Okay, so that's your topic. Indeed, as I say, likelihood is you may have a range of topics and you're not quite sure which one to deal with, or indeed which is the priority. But out of that discussion will come your desired goal. And that's your G, your desired goal. You're going to have two goals. You're going to have what's called your big goal, and you're going to have your session goal. Now your big goal is the aim. Where do you really want to get to? Your session goal is your stepping stone. This session, what we're going to do now to get us towards that big goal. Stepping stones can only be done though if you know where you're starting from. Therefore, you need to look at the reality of your current situation. Okay? And you're going to do that through asking certain questions. You know, where are we? Where am I now? Where's my business now? What are the issues that might be stopping me, or the challenges or the obstacles from getting to that big goal? And indeed, what might be the things that are currently in my situation that could help me to get to that big goal? So you need to do all of that digging around in the reality to get the firm basis of where you're starting from. That then opens up the door for new options. And at this stage, it's highly important that you really allow yourself to expand. What options do you have? Yes, but what else do you have? Yes, but what other options do you have? Get big, get outlandish, really look for the big, kind of like no chance that's going to happen option, which will then open up your creative juices, your imagination, that will then transfer into other thinking, down into other thinking, and around to, that's the key idea that we would never have thought about had we not opened up our whole creative thinking. Out of that will then come your way forward. Okay? And that's the will. The way forward. What will you do? So you need to think at this point, what will you do? How will you do it? When will you do it? Who might need to be involved in doing that with you? Okay? This is when you set your SMART actions, your action planning. You also need to question at this point, how committed are you really to making sure that these actions happen? Okay? If you're not highly committed, then there's something going on that's not quite right. And you might at that point have to go back to the reality. What's stopping you from being completely committed to this and knowing 100% that these actions will actually happen? Once you've confirmed this, you will then move on to your progress. And you'll be progressing against that session goal in order that you get to your big success against that big goal. Because once you've got your progress against your session goal, you will then come round to more session goals, more stepping stones, more reality, more options, more will, and it's a spiral that keeps taking you round and round until eventually you get to that big goal that you were achieving for. Thank you.